is a quick review on the Ryobi Cordless sprayer, paint sprayer. Okay, and something else I talked about in some of the other videos about like refinishing RVs and stuff. You're going to be painting, and if you want to make your backwoods places look more civilized, you're going to be painting. And right now, with a down economy, people are like working on projects, kind of increase the value of their property, or you're doing handyman work on the side. It's one of the things you can do is some painting. So I am fresh back from an office remodel project that I worked on, a small one, and we were having to paint some really odd stuff that was going to take forever with brushes and rollers. So I made the investment in one of these sprayers. And this was as a backup to an industrial paint machine that a guy I worked with had. And his machine failed, so we ended up using this as the main sprayer for the whole job. And it was dirty, it was messy. I learned some things the hard way about how there's a part on these that will come unscrewed and make the whole thing blow out in front of you, which is never fun to clean up. But overall, it was a job saver. And I gotta say that this is something that if you're going cordless and you're going to do volumes of work, the other thing that happens if you're using a lot of paintbrushes is paintbrushes cost money. And there's no way around it on paint jobs that you're going to have cleanup, okay? Whether you're having to clean brushes or whether you're having to clean your paint gun, the only way around that on the big cleanup stuff is using a lot of disposable stuff, and that runs into storage space issues, transport issues, things like that. And disposable paintbrushes just don't give you the end product quality that you're going to get out of a good paintbrush. And there's a certain quality of finish you get out of sprayers that some people like, some people don't, but it's a known variable. So with its sprayer, is it the best in the world? No, but I can say this: it's good enough to get the job done. It's a good product. However, a lot of pros are giving me mixed reviews on these. And one thing a lot of guys are agreeing is that if you do end up deciding to go with a cordless sprayer, which is really good if you're having to do a lot of your work at the top of the ladder, you want to have more than one, so that when you go to work, you have more than one. So what I did was, this was the backup unit for a job I did. We ended up using it for most of the job. And when I got home with my money, I went on Craigslist to see what kind of stuff I could pick up used, because this Ryobi gear you can get really cheap used. And there was a guy that had one in great shape, said he used it for one job. I believe him because it's in better shape than mine. And I got it for $60 from a guy used. Now the new one I paid $150, and then I got my veterans discount, a couple other things. But the machines are okay, but there's a lot of little parts you got to deal with on them, and keep it clean and all that stuff. So it helps to have a spare for the spare parts. And I would say this: I'm going to keep an eye open on garage sales for more of these things. They also make a plug-in-the-wall version. It's cheaper, but it uses the exact same sprayer and sprayer head assemblies, which means if somebody's got one of those sitting around a yard sale, garage sale, it's a $15 item, it's a $20 item. The cordless model, $60, $70, $80. You'll end up with another recharger for the Ryobi tools. Right now they won't sell this as a bare tool. And if you try to order like the spare motor head assembly from Ryobi, you're going to pay more than you would pay for the whole kit used. So what I would also recommend is, because a lot of the stuff ends up with water in it when you're done cleaning it, or whatever cleaning solutions you use with it, store your machines in one bag, and then the other is going to be like for batteries and chargers and stuff, because you don't want to store these batteries in a real damp environment like where you just had the paint gun all wet. Now the other thing about these little bags they come in, that's more like a cheap cooler. I don't know, it's got the lining in there that's all real neat. I think it was part of a promotional they did at some point. So you may want to store these in a separate type of container, but realize it's going to be something that's going to be a little messy inside because of the water and the paint and the cleanup. The heart of this unit is really, you got your motor assembly, you got batteries, you got your sprayer assembly. These things you got to take apart to clean. This little piston in the back here needs to get lubricated from time to time. These things are interchangeable. There's an inner ring and an outer ring, and you can see how the inner ring is. That has to be screwed into the sprayer head assembly tight. It has to be screwed onto those plastic threads, which may not be showing up too well, but it's inside of there. And that thing can come unscrewed on its own as the machine kind of vibrates a bit during use. You got to look out for that, because it'll blow your whole sprayer assembly all over the place. It's splatter on the ground, not a pretty thing. But you know, overall, if you kind of get used to these machines, figure out what the little shortcomings are. Nobody else has a really good cordless sprayer that is, you know, one-hand portable, the type of thing that you can climb up and really spray stuff in a hurry with, and get a big volume of water-based paint down. Now, there's pre-compressed air type sprayers that some people are doing for automotive applications, but you can't do a lot of volume with that stuff. These things can empty a paint cup inside of like maybe 5 minutes, 8 minutes, really quickly. And so you'll spend a lot of time just going and refilling the paint cup. If it was much larger and heavier, then you'd have an issue with handling it one-handed. And like I said, if you're hanging onto a ladder with one hand, got the sprayer in the other, it's just the way it rolls. So I would recommend, even if you have more than one of these, one way you can work is you're passing a reloaded one to the guy at the top of the ladder back and forth, and you'll actually get the job done pretty quickly. So overall, I'm going to say that the Ryobi sprayer, even though it's got a few shortcomings, it's a winner.